So wish me luck, but hopefully this will save someone else a lot of frustration, because I'm 2 minutes from home with my brakes locked up on my brand new trailer and can't get home right now. So it's always fun.
Daddy, my sock.
What happened to your socks? You put them in the house?
Yeah.
How are they gonna do you any good if they're in the house? What's going on, everybody? This is Joe here with MAXCO Dumpster Rentals. I got my son JJ with me in the back seat, so you'll probably hear him chiming in from time to time. And I got the green machine hooked up behind me. We're about to actually make our first ever run with it. Reached out, said he was in need, and we are driving it up to him right now. Should be pretty interesting. I'm excited to see how the 16-foot rails work for me. It is a little bit on the bigger side for like tighter residential neighborhoods, but when you go out into the bigger areas, which is just a little bit north of me, that's where we're going, should be a breeze. So I am excited for that. I will have my first tick mark off on getting the trailer making money, which is nice, so that's exciting. And yeah, I mean, it's working out well so far. I've got no major complaints. I'm gonna do an entire video specifically on the Texas Pride trailer buying experience, as well as quality when it got to me. So I'm not gonna take up much time on this video talking about that, but I will say, for the most part, it's a nice trailer. I'm happy with it. Seems like it's gonna do me really good. Mama's hungry?
Yeah.
Mama's always hungry, buddy. I got a residential load. It's a 20-yard dumpster on the back. We're gonna be dropping it. I'm gonna give it to him for a week. I told him just book it for my 2-day rate and I'll leave it there for a week. I'm inventory positive at the moment, so that's the one area I can be extra friendly with, is just extend the time. I'm not gonna have all my dumpsters booked out. Probably for weeks, if not even months. It's gonna take a little while. I'm going from 3 dumpsters to now 9 dumpsters. I added 6. And I've also been a little off the ball on my advertising and stuff like that for the last few months. And we're in the slow season. So just being the realist that I am, it's gonna probably take me a month or 2 before I'm seeing real dents out of my inventory, that they're out all the time, not sitting in a yard. But that's fine. I bought in winter. I knew that was going to happen. So for the time being, if someone, like, for example, wants the hookup, or they want to see that discount, that friendly elbow grease, you can always extend time if you have the inventory to do it. So that would be my tip of the day. Otherwise, yeah, it's cool. We'll get this thing going here in a minute, and I'll show you when I drop it. So this is a new one for me. Pulled out my trailer brake pin. I had this lovely 4x4 here sitting on this side, and it pulled my pin, hit my rope. Every instructional video that I see just says, put the pin back in. What they don't tell you is what you do when one of your springs break out and bend. So I'm in the middle of figuring it out, but I think I figured it out. There's a, I don't know if you can see that or not. There's a little plate in there. It's like a connector that's depressed down. I got a feeling this spring sits under it and pushes that up, and then the pin sits under it. When it slides out, it comes down. So wish me luck, but hopefully this will save someone else a lot of frustration, because I'm 2 minutes from home with my brakes locked up on my brand new trailer and can't get home right now. So it's always fun. All right. So as you can see behind me is the green machine, but I'm sitting in an unusual spot. The bed of the truck. So I dropped off my very first dumpster with this trailer today for a job for a buddy of mine. Forgot that the dumpster I was dropping was one of the units that had the doors in it. So it had a 4x4 post, which wasn't from the delivery, but it was in the bed of my truck. We put it in that dumpster because it had the stuff in it, and then it had a pallet and, you know, that yellow strap, stuff like that. Nothing major, but essentially I just grabbed the 4x4 post out of the dumpster, threw it in the bed of the truck. Wasn't really thinking, 'cause, you know, I'd been bumper pulling for a long time. Hit the cable for the brake safety switch. So that guy right there, hit the cable, which I have 3 dump trailers. I've been running them all for a year. I've never actually seen the pin pulled out of that box, which I guess is a part of what should be a safety maintenance checklist. I did not know that. I did not know you could just easily pull them in, put them out, that kind of thing. All that aside. So the 4x4 hits the cable, pulls the pin out. Thankfully, it happens after an almost 1 hour drive. I was literally pulling into my storage lot. I got the indicator for brake trailer check wiring, trailer cable disconnected, something along those lines. So I didn't actually realize what was happening. I thought maybe my 7-way was just a little loose. And so I didn't do anything at the time. I pulled into the lot, started to back up to the bin, noticed it was jerky, but this is a new process for me. I'm doing this on grass. I thought that the, you know, kind of just angle of the trailer tires was kind of inking up together and causing maybe a rut or something. So at any rate, backed up basically to the can and then realized something was actually wrong. So I get out, take a look, cable's been pulled. You know, rain on my parade, but a quick YouTube search, it's the easiest thing in the world. Just put the pin back in, call it a day. So I put the pin back in, but I think I put it in wrong, or when the 4x4 hit it, it just pulled it out aggressively enough to do some damage in there. One of the springs, so it looks like there's a plate and then 2 springs, I think they're both on the bottom, that pin it up, or maybe pin it, I don't know. I didn't design the things. I just know it's not where it's supposed to be. So essentially it's making contact, and you don't want it to make contact. And I couldn't put the pin back in there to latch it in place. And I started grabbing any little thing I could, trying to move it from one point to another. I used Allen keys, and they started to get really hot. I was starting to actually make connection in there and create, you know, heat. But I could not get it to, I heard it actually disengage, I think twice when I was playing with it. You could hear the brakes release, but I couldn't get it to the point where I had that and then the pin in place and able to move the truck. As soon as I got in the truck, every time it was locked up, it wasn't letting me move easily. It lets you move a little bit, but you're pulling the trailer instead of it following behind you. So at any rate, I learned how to replace the I don't even know what you call these, brake safety boxes. Thankfully pretty easy. So essentially, if you have any knowledge at all on connecting cables, I actually went in there, cut it just a little bit longer than I wanted, just to be safe, and then peeled the whole sleeve back and realized that they actually had their splice in right next to where I was. So essentially I was 3-4 inches away from where they were anyway. Thankfully I had a little bit of extra, so I just cut it and repinned it so I didn't have 2 connectors inches away from each other. I'm about to heat gun next. So if you don't know, so I'll give you a little crash course. I'm not the right person to educate really anyone on this subject, but essentially all you really need, where'd they go? All you really need, some wire gauge snippers. You're gonna cut your cable to a fray for whatever the gauge is. This was 16 gauge. And then you just shove them. Sorry, you have to look at me for a second. You just shove them in there like that. So you shove them in there like that, and then take your gauges and you crimp down on the metal part in the middle. You can see that metal right next to my fingertip. And then that will look something like that. So they're crimped down. Essentially they're together. Like I can play with it, it's not moving. Then the heat gun will just take this plastic and shrink wrap onto it. So it just tightens the wires together and kind of keeps water out, stuff like that. But yeah, the box actually comes just like that. All you had to do is pull the bolt, which all it is connected to the ground right there, but just pull the bolt and replace the entire assembly. I'm trying to see where I even put it. There it is. So that was the old one. Yep. I'm gonna open it up and kind of just see what I could have done differently, but looks like I believe that's a rivet that's holding it in there. So I can't open it easily when it was on the trailer. So I just left it alone. But yeah, I'm gonna play with it, see what I can figure out. All right, so I just got done with the heat gun. You can actually kind of see the color very vividly, right on the corners. The blue and the blue. It's almost like they fuse together. It's melting into the cable, so it just really gets that secure bond. You can see a little air bubble trapped in there, but otherwise they're pretty much melted together. So yeah, nice and snug. Now I'm gonna put the neck back on it, or the sleeve back on it, put it back up in the neck, and test her out, make sure she's still functioning the way she should be. All right, there she is. Like it never happened. Let's go test her out. All right, so if you want to test yours out, I already tested it, so I'm not going to do it again, but all you would do is pull your pin out of the box and then start up the truck and attempt to drive it. The trailer brakes should engage and give you enough stopping power to keep you from rolling forward. You'll kind of feel it if you're familiar with your trailer. You'll feel it stopping you. And then if it does in fact stop you, you then put your pin back in. It should release your brakes, and then you should be able to drive on out of there and enjoy it. So I hope that helps somebody out. Until the next one, y'all have a good one.